My name is Dr. Ben Liu. I'm the founder and owner of Super Kids Pediatric Dentistry. We've been serving the communities in the DMV for the last 12 years. We have 5 locations, pediatric and orthodontic dental services.
Awesome. Now take me back to the very beginning. What got you started on this whole journey
In dentistry.
in dentistry?
Yeah. So specifically with pediatrics, from a young age, I knew I wanted to work with kids. I remember my parents would invite family friends over and they had little kids, and they would know how good I was with kids and just make me babysit them and just say, take care of these kids and we're going to do our own thing. But I enjoyed it, working with kids from a young age. And then throughout high school, when I had to figure out my career, I would volunteer at different child-based organizations. And once I got into dentistry, it was a no-brainer that I would need to pursue the pediatric route. Dentistry came about primarily because for 2 main reasons. I liked working with my hands. I wanted to be active working with my hands. And I also wanted a career that would give me the work-life balance that I was seeking for my life. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
So let's talk about the fact that you studied psychology at Johns Hopkins before becoming a dentist. How has that background influenced the way you connect with kids and parents today?
Absolutely. So I started as a biology major when I first entered college, but it was a freshman course in Intro to Child Psychology that pretty much changed everything for me. It was a fascinating course, just understanding, how the child brain works, how the child mind works. It's amazingly complex, in some ways even more complex than the adult mind. And so learning about that, and again, with my background, wanting to work with kids, I said, this is great. So I changed my major over to psychology and, went deep in, and it's helped me a lot at many steps throughout my career. I'm a child dentist. Kids don't really want to come and open their mouth freely for me to stick metal instruments into their mouth. So having to convince them of that and work with them and negotiate with them, that's where all the background in the psychology has really kicked in and helped me a lot.
Well, and you have a friendly face and demeanor, so I think it makes
I
it
tried.
easier.
I tried.
After dental school and your pediatric specialty training, you started as an associate. What lessons did those early years teach you about running a dental practice?
When I first graduated, I worked at I accepted 4 job offers when I first graduated. And that was intentional because I wanted to get out there and kind of see what was out there, different practices, different kind of people. And also I was heavily in debt, so I needed to make a lot of money. So I worked 6 days a week for the first 2 years of my career. But throughout my time, and I worked at different temp offices, so I probably worked at about 30 different offices, and each one I tried to learn something a little bit different, whether it was about the operations, about the people, about the team members working there, and different patients, different demographics, and try to pick a little bit of each one, little tidbits of information from each one, with the knowledge that later on, when I opened my own practice, the goal was just take the best of each practice that I worked at and kind of meld it into my own practice. So
I think that is so brilliant.
Yeah.
You did your own market research.
Pretty much,
You
yeah.
had your own specialty schooling.
Kind of, yeah. Just knocking on doors, asking for jobs. Can I get in there and work for a little bit? I just want to see what you're doing. So, but yeah.
That's genius. Founding Super Kids in 2013 was a big leap. What gave you the courage to start your own practice, and what were those early days like?
So it's a long story, but long story short, I was put into that role sooner than I thought for a variety of reasons. But I actually started with 2 offices, not just one. I started with 2 offices, and the early days were slow, very slow. There were days where you go through all day and you saw 2 patients or 3 patients. So it made it, I was nervous. I didn't know whether this would work or not. I remember telling one of my key people at the time that, this is going to happen. And she encouraged me and said, you're going to be fine. But I wouldn't say it was necessarily courage. It was just kind of, well, let's just do it. Just dive right in and let's see what happens. So,
That's amazing.
yeah, scary. Yes.
Today, Super Kids grown to multiple locations, more than just the 2. Looking back, what do you think has been the biggest factor in that growth and success?
I think people ask me all the time, like, how do you do this? How do you manage 5 offices and all the operations and all that? And I always tell them, like, just don't worry about the little things, focus on the big things. And I've always said that business isn't about, people think it's about money or accounting or whatever. Business is really just about people. It's about everyone. It's about the people that work for you. It's about the clients that you serve. And so my culture and my entire philosophy has revolved around, well, let's do the best by the patient, but then also secondarily, let's do the best by the people that work for you, work for Super Kids. Let's take care of them too, because when you have happy staff, happy employees, they're going to translate that happiness to the patients. And I can tell you firsthand, I've had patients say to me, like, I don't know how you have such happy team members. Like they enjoy working here. We don't see that a lot. And that makes me happy because that validates what I initially thought in terms of running a business. Because, when I first started, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. It's all about numbers and this and that and, compliance and law stuff. But if you just focus on the people and have integrity and do things right, you should be okay.
Do you think that's brilliant? Do you think that a lot of that has to do with the multiple jobs that you had when you were learning? Like, did you pick up on maybe some experiences that you have? And you
It,
were like, I gotta make sure I do better than this.
I think it was just, again, working in so many different places and interacting with so many different people, you kind of learn, what it takes what motivates people. Why are they there? What makes them want to come to work? What makes them happy at work?
Because you had to feel that yourself.
You can
You were the one that was coming into work for these people.
Yeah, exactly. I was the new guy, right?
Oh,
The
wow.
manager's been there for 30 years and I'm the new guy coming in and I have to work my way in. But I think, just gotta stay humble. Yeah, you're the dentist, you're the one with the degree and everything. But at the end of the day, you're part of the team. I think the team culture and the team concept is really big in my practice. And I think that's contributed a lot to our success.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You often have said fun, patience, and a gentle touch are the keys to earning a child's trust. Can you share a specific story where you saw that philosophy change a child's experience in a chair?
I think for me, the most rewarding experiences are, you have the kids come in for the first time to see me and they're just scared. They're holding on to mom and they just don't want to sit in the chair. And, you have to coax them and convince them. But you can see, having done this for so long and work with so many kids, I can see they just don't want to be there. They just don't want to cooperate. They're not going to give you a chance, whatever. But then the ones that are willing to give you a shot, you can see it in there. It's those that you get in the chair, you're able to convince them and talk to them and say, hey, I know you went to, somewhere else and, they were not as nice maybe, but we're going to be different here. And then you can see them give you that opening, that chance to, okay, show me, how are you different than the previous dentist? I savor that. I love that. And I can't name how many patients I've seen where that's happened. And then when they come in 6 months later and they plop in the chair, sit back, watch TV, and you see the appreciation of the parents. For me, that's the most rewarding part of my job.
100%. As somebody who has 3 kids,
Yeah.
it's always a nightmare when you're like, okay, we're going to the dentist. And they're like, oh, man. Versus if you get a different reaction.
Exactly.
Like, oh, okay.
One of my favorite compliments from patients who get this all the time at our offices is that they can't wait to come for their next cleaning and checkup, which is great to hear.
Say
So,
it again.
yeah. Can you record that? Yeah, exactly.
What role do parents play in building healthy oral habits? And how do you see your role as a partner in that journey?
Yeah. So it's a triad. It's me, it's the parent and the child. I'm the one, the expert, if you will, with the education to, say, okay, this is what's good for your child's oral health. But at the end of the day, you need the parent to buy in, you need the child to buy in, because if you really think about it, most kids that I only see 30 minutes every 6 months. So I get them an hour for the whole year. So in that hour, I need to make it count. And what I try to do in that time is just try to impart as much knowledge and information that I've gathered throughout my experience and my education to say, hey, this is what's best for your child's health. Okay. And then telling the parent that and then telling the child, hey, we need your help too. We need your contribution. Do this, do that. We get a toy here. We can watch TV here, all this kind of stuff. But I think seeing myself as on equal footing with them as a partner is what my philosophy is.
Do you ever get the drill out and you're like,
Yeah, to scare them out a little bit. Yeah, yeah. You don't want the whistle brush. Yeah.
running a business while being a parent yourself must shape your perspective. How has being a dad to 3 kids influenced the way that you lead Super Kids?
Yeah, I think when before I had kids, it definitely changed once I had kids. Before, it's like, okay, this is the patient, this is what you must do. But then after I had kids, this isn't a patient, this is, so and so's child. The dad's sitting right there. And so you need to understand that. And, before I'm a bit, oh my gosh, he's spoiled or this and that. But now that you have your own kids and you spoil your own kids, like, okay, he's not spoiled. He's just, he has certain expectations. You got to work with him on that. So it has changed a lot of my behavior management with children who are anxious, but then also my interactions in speaking with the parent as well. So
It's kind of like the fitness trainer who doesn't have any kids and talks about, like, don't eat your kids, like, leftover fries, or it's like, wait until you have kids.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
changes your perspective on how you
Exactly.
and everything.
Exactly.
Looking back at your journey from Chapel Hill to Johns Hopkins to Columbia to starting your first practice, what do you feel that you were the most proud of?
I'm most proud of my family, personal family. Professionally, sure. I mean, created a good office and, hopefully people are coming and bringing their kids.
Offices.
Offices, yes. But, it's I do everything obviously for them, and how I do that is, I try to create the best business I can, grounded on, highest level of clinical care, service, and ethics. And I think I'm most proud basically that I can fall asleep at night knowing I did the best that I could. So
That's beautiful. What advice would you give to young dentists, entrepreneurs, or even parents who are just starting their own journeys?
it's 3 words: just do it. Don't think too much. I've said this to friends of mine who have thought about opening a practice and are scared about what's going to happen. I say, just do it. You'll figure it out. You're smart. You got a degree in dentistry. This is not as hard as you think it is. So I would say just take the plunge, find people that can help you. Definitely, I have gotten so much help along the way. But I would say, don't think too much about it. Don't think about the consequences of, what may or may not happen. Just do it. Just take a chance on yourself, and the magic should happen.
Don't just research it and read about it.
Yeah, to be truthful, yeah. I mean, you asked that question, Rich. Is the first year or two of when I was opening my own practice, I was online every night. How do you run a dental practice? How do you get billing done? How do you get scheduling done? How do you this and that? I was putting in a lot of that time, but I enjoyed it because at the end of the day, like, you're doing this for yourself. Like, you're doing this to improve yourself, and that's, for me, it's always about how can you be better. I always tell my team this because this is my own personal philosophy: is how can you be better today than you were the day before? And if that's just focus on that, you should be okay.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the whole, like, how do you get six-pack abs? There's just
Yeah.
read about it.
Yeah.
You just have to start doing
Yeah,
the actions.
exactly. Liposuction, that's easier way.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Finally, when you think about the future of Super Kids, what legacy do you hope it leaves for families in the community?
I just hope that one day Super Kids can be synonymous with excellence. If you could kind of phrase it, I would say the legacy I want to leave is when someone moves to the area, someone says to them, "Go to Super Kids. They're the very best." If I can achieve that legacy, then that's what all this is all about.
That's perfect. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that I didn't ask you about that you would love to just add in?
No, I'm okay.
No advice?
Our advice? Oh, I would say, like I said earlier, it depends on the audience that's listening. But if you're looking to open your own business, whether it's in dentistry or podcasts or marketing, just take a chance on yourself. More often than not, you're gonna do fine.
Even
So
if you're nervous.
even if you're nervous, yeah, I've been there. I know all about that, but just got to work through those nerves. But
Thank you so much for being
thank you very
on the
much.
podcast.
I appreciate
Great
it.
having you.
Thank you.